Well, welcome to the Happy Fit Friday broadcast. We are super duper excited. We have a special edition of the Happy Fit Friday. My name is Jacqueline Turnbow, aka Jacqueline Deneen, your partner on purpose. So we want to again wish you a Happy Fit Friday. Happy Fit Friday. Fitness implemented today. What have you done today to optimize your health? Well, as those of you that are connected with us, you know that once a month we have a spotlight. We feature special individuals that they are experts in their industries, but they somehow connected with health and wellness. So we've had a plethora of topics the past several months. Well, this time we want to center this around finance, investing, and finances. Believe it or not, it can have a lot to do with your health and wellness, especially your wellness. We're advocates for making sure not only that we are physically fit, physically healthy, but that wellness piece that goes with your mental state of mind. So if you are just someone that is so stressed out about finances, it could definitely have an effect on not only your wellness but even in your health, because when you have stress and other mental disease going on, it oftentimes it can affect you physically as well. So that's why we believe that it was so crucial to just cover just we like to think holistically, spirit, soul, body. So that's why we are super duper excited to have our wonderful, she is phenomenal. She's an influencer here in Central Ohio and across the country. And I'm telling you, once you hear what she has to share tonight, it's transforming. It will be transforming, and she's definitely going to give you something to consider. So we are again excited to have her on. But before we give her an introduction, we want to check and see who is here. Okay, I should have known. I should have known. There goes Teresa Taylor. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much. You are in for a treat. We have some other individuals on as well. If you like to post something in the comments, we would love to give you a proper greeting. But we have our awesome guest in the virtual green room. So before we bring her on, we want to state that if you have questions, please don't sit back and not ask. While you have this expert, this investor and financial expert in the room, and you've been wanting to invest, and come on now, let's be real. It's time to make a shift. It's time to make a shift. 2020 is coming around the corner. So if you have some investment questions, or how it's going to relate to your health and wellness, please ask. Post them in the comments while you have her here, and her meaning none other than the beautiful, the phenomenal Nikkei Willis. She is the CEO of Money Honey University. Don't you love that name? Come on now, Money Honey University. She is going to be dripping with some sweet, sweet nuggets for us to consider and to optimize our life and you just want to stay tuned, and I'm going to let her share her background with you. But before we do that, once again, we have someone just posting in. Hey there's my unstoppable woman on the move, sister Angela Denise Trailer Tyler. Hey there, sis. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We love you much. We appreciate you. Teresa, we love you for just jumping on in. So, without further ado, we want to introduce to some and present to others none other than the Nikkei Willis of Money Honey University. And she has a special place in my heart as well. She is a longtime friend of our family, especially our eldest son, her and her awesome husband. We need to have him on here as well. But without further ado, we just want to present Nikkei Willis.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, can y'all hear me okay? I was looking for some headphones to be sure, but I want to make sure there's no echo or anything.
Well, you sound good on my end. If someone could please post in the comments if you can hear Nikkei clearly. Let's see what they're saying here. Okay, we have some people coming on in. Hey there, Tawana, mother, unstoppable woman on the move, sister. Thank you for joining. Happy Fifth Friday indeed.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Angela says, love you too. Love you, love you, love you. Appreciate you. Tawana says, welcome to Kay Willis.
Thank you.
And Teresa said, you're coming in clearly.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. You know, I always think that it's just amazing to see people operating in faith, right? You stepped out on faith and developed this platform that you now allow others to come on and present some value to your guests. So I want to honor you, first of all, for being faithful. You started this. You've been going strong. I love tuning in. I know everyone on the line looks forward to tuning in on Happy Fit Fridays. And so kudos to you and congratulations for launching this successfully.
Oh, that means a lot. Because believe it or not, I do. I admire you. Look up to you, even though I have some years on you, but we so appreciate all that you're doing. You are just definitely adding value, not only to Central Ohio, but across the country. You and your husband, you both have phenomenal platforms, and we so appreciate you. And we count it an honor and a privilege just to be connected with you. And we so thank you for those kind words.
Thank you.
So let's see. We have just a few things. Let's see. Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah. And she says, "Amen." Thank you, Tawana. Appreciate you. But we felt that it was necessary to cover not only health, just dealing with physical health and wellness, mental health. We thought that it really is holistic. It should be holistic. We've had people on here talking about the family, talking about men's health, and how spouses and significant others should support them and encourage them to go to the doctor. We've had someone on here talking about insurance, securing your legacy. We've had someone on here just talking about being intentional and just affecting your community and actually living up to your own legacy and becoming a legend. So we've had a plethora of topics. So we felt the need to have someone on that can really help us understand the importance of having a healthy financial situation and how it can affect us, even in our health and wellness. So just I'm going to give you the floor. We'll allow you just to present, just share your thoughts on investing and how it relates to um, us having, a good state of mind and
Mm-hmm.
maintaining our mental wellness because our finances are
Mm-hmm.
in order. And just wherever you want to go with this, we're right with you. We have some Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Q&A going on. We have some questions, and from time to time, we have a few little statistics. We may kind of put them in there
Right.
somewhere, but we just want to, before we give you the floor, we just want to. One statistic I thought was crazy, and I know you can speak to this. The American Sociological Association states that 72% of people are stressed because of money,
Mm-hmm.
and 22 are extremely stressed. And
Mm-hmm.
we know that stress can bring on physical illnesses as well. Uh, Somewhere along there, you can put that in there, and then we have just a couple other little things we want to share. But we are going to give you the floor. I'm going to get off screen so you can have all the attention is on you.
What? I want to talk to you. Okay.
No, I'm going to come back on. If you want me to stay on, I can.
Yeah,
If
stay
you
on
want me.
here. So,
Okay.
I do want to speak to that. I mean, absolutely. When we look at all the different things that stress brings on, when we talk about health or we talk about healthy relationships, stress, for example, how many people on the line tend to eat more when you feel stressed? Right. Or, I call it stress eating. I do that a whole lot. Like, in fact, when I am when I'm stressed, like that's probably the hardest time for me to stay focused on, what I'm doing health wise for myself and my body. And part of that is because when you're stressed, it's harder to think with the frontal lobe of your brain, which is where you do all of your critical thinking. So all of your planning, all of your pros and cons, is this best for me in the long run? That shuts down when you feel under stress. And money, unfortunately, controls so much of the options that we have and that we can take advantage of. And so it can be a very, very strong source of stress. It's the top three when we talk about what women specifically deal with. The case that you went over, I'm sure wasn't gender specific. Also, with when it comes to divorce, it tends to be the top three, usually the top two reasons for divorce. And the reason why is because when you're stressed about something, think of how much your income or the money that you have access to really does control about your daily life. The house that you live in, the car that you drive, where you work, the side of town you live on, where your kids go to school. And money isn't everything. I just want to be very clear. I tend to talk about money a lot. And if you look at my Instagram, it says money is my ministry. And I truly believe that. But what I will say is money is not everything, but it is important. And we'd be fooling ourselves to think that it's not. Main thing, because of it can be such a huge source of stress. And I believe that part of that is why, at least biblically, we're told to take care of our finances so that you can be prepared for things, whether you foresee them or not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as you know, we are discussing invest and build wealth while maintaining your health, and you covered a lot just right there, pertaining to stress and how it could definitely be detrimental if we really don't get a handle on it. And unfortunately, it can break up families and again help hurt us physically. But let's see. Someone has a question, a comment. Let me see if they have a question. Let's see. Uh, Oh, it took it off. Okay. Oh, Tawana said, yes, I know about the stress eating.
Okay.
So I,
Listen, me and some of my friends went on a oh sorry. Me and some of my friends went on a juice fast for 7 days. And I said, the only time I really struggle is when I feel like I'm under stress. And so I began to realize some of those habits that I have. Um, are really not about being hungry. It's about, trying to satisfy a certain feeling. And so sometimes we do that with our finances as well. But you can see, I mean, that's tied directly into your health. How stressed out you are, how many options do you have? We talk about it all the time. Sometimes when you're on a particular level and you feel like you could be doing better, and maybe there's others doing better than you financially, you tend to put them on this pedestal, like, wealthy people don't have problems. Well, that's not true. Wealthy people have the same problems, that a lot of us have, but they have options and they can show up to those problems a little bit differently. And so you can imagine that would be a lot less stressful, for example. But I believe that that's not really about the money at all. That's really about, like I said, taking the due diligence of stewarding your money well when things are going right, so that when a problem arises, it's not, my husband says that I hit the nuke button, right? So that's what we call it. Like, it's not a reason to hit the nuke button. Like, you don't have to launch the nukes. Like, you just have to, maybe sort some things out. Kevin Hart said, the way my, checking account is set up, you know what I mean? But it's just a slight rearrangement versus, a devastation of lifestyle. And speaking statistically, 68% of people don't have $1,000 saved. And so when you think about that, if I don't have, if I don't have $1,000 for a bad day or a good day, right. That inherently in the back of my mind would be a continuous source of stress, no matter how I'm getting through the day and time, today and tomorrow and thereafter. It has to be a continuous source of stress that, man, if one thing goes wrong, if I miss one paycheck, a lot of families are just one paycheck away from devastation, just from the lack of planning ahead, and doing those boring things. Finances can be very boring, but by doing those things, you can live the best life. So
what's that's something you should mention that, because um, I've often said a lot of times when I'm eating poorly and I'm running through the drive-through, I could have that money used for something else. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend? How can we start out small, mm-hmm. getting a handle on our finances, and so we can at least have, like you said, have at least $1,000 in the bank anyway for an emergency?
Exactly. I think it starts there, especially with women. We tend to be emotional shoppers. I know we don't like, to say that we're emotional, but we are, and we're created that way. We tend to purchase things emotionally. There's times I've gone to the grocery store, spent 2 hours at the grocery store, and I'm like, okay, we getting this fast food today, because now I'm too tired to cook, right? Yeah. I'm too tired to cook all this food I got. But
for sure.
I think a part of it is we have this misconception that, I'm going to go to this sale to save this money, right? So, there's these boots I've been wanting. They were $100. They're on sale for $70. And I think sometimes what a big mistake that we make is then we don't assign the $30 to something else. So a lot of times, you catch these sales, or like you said, like going through fast food. If you say, okay, listen, last month we spent $200 in fast food. This month we're going to keep it to $50. Now, the next step, and what so many people leave out, is you have to assign the $150 that you're saving to something. And that's, okay. I would highly recommend investing, mainly because, as we discussed, money is one of the worst masters you can have. If every decision you make is based off of how much money you have to maneuver, right, then money tends to be your master in that scenario. However, money is the best servant you could ever have, right? It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get sick. It doesn't need maternity leave. It doesn't need vacation and health insurance. You can put it to work over and over and over again. But one of the biggest mistakes that we make is that we save money, right? Even out of our paychecks, we have money in our saving account, but it's not really doing anything. It's not assigned to a specific purpose. And so because of that, money tends to run from us, right? So many people on the line, maybe you've gotten to a point where you saved $1,000 and then next thing you know, you have an emergency that's $998.50. You know, it happens all the time. But the reason why is because that money is not assigned to anything. And money is a currency. It's meant to flow. It's not meant to sit in your account. It's not meant to sit in your mattress or in your freezer. It's meant to be flowing and doing something. And if you're not going to do something with it, then it'll flow to who will. And that's a Bible principle.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Now, I love what you just said. Money can either be your master or it could be your servant. Mm-hmm. So how can we shift our mindset to make it our servant and not our master? Because I'll be the first one to tell you, the first thing will come out of my mouth is something major hits. Oh man, I did not plan for that. I don't have the money. Or if I see something that I really could see it will be beneficial to my business, I'll just deal with that. My business, and I feel that if I make that investment, I can go to another level. But because I made it was my master, money was my master and not my servant, I miss out on an opportunity of an investment. So how can we begin to make strides to make it our servant?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things I like to start with is that when money is the first thing that we consider when we're making a decision, that's when it tends to be our master. And a lot of times when we look back on situations where we did that, we can see like, oh, wow, I literally jumped over dollars to pick up pennies. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to hold my little monies together. And because of that, I missed out on something big. Right. So in my mind, whenever you talk about mindset, it's, the Bible says your mind has to be renewed and it's renewed by reading the word. And so I believe that because it's the word of God, it actually applies anywhere, right? So if you want your mind to be renewed about money, that's only going to come with gaining new knowledge about money. And by knowledge, I don't just mean reading, I mean reading and applying. Okay. Some books that I would recommend, some of my favorites when I first started was The Richest Man in Babylon. And I'm just looking at my notes over here. The Richest Man in Babylon.
Who's the author?
I don't have the author, but I'm an audiobook thing because I'm in the car most of my day. And so I usually tune into audiobooks. I do love to take the time to read now that I realized that I needed glasses. I was like, I don't like to read. But as a glasses, I'm like, oh yeah, hand me that book. But The Richest Man in Babylon, it literally walks you through what it would take to go from, if you're struggling, if you're check to check, or if you're just not in the place that you really had envisioned for your life at this point. It literally walks you through actionable steps of how to get there. And I love it because it's based on someone mentoring someone else. So you're watching this other person, or you're reading and learning about this other person going through the lessons and making the mistakes so that you don't have to make those same mistakes. But that's one of my favorite ones. I would also highly recommend Money by Design. And I don't have the author. I'm sorry. I don't have the author in any of these.
No,
Proverbs. It's in the Bible.
Okay? I'll post them later. I'll find them.
Also, the book of Proverbs.
Yeah.
All about money principles and what you should be doing. And I would and one of the things you said was so important. When you're renewing your mind, it's about the people that you're around, but it's also about recognizing like that voice in your head that's like emergency pops up and you're like, first thing I'm saying is like, oh, I don't have the money for that. Right. What if the first thing you said was, I'm sure it'll work out for my good, right? Because that's what the word says about you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, another book is Hung by the Tongue. It's a very short book, quick read. I would actually recommend for you to have your children read it, but it's about that voice in your mind that sets you up for failure every time. So sometimes we talk about cutting off negative people around us, but sometimes that negative person is you, and you gotta like, hey, that's not my thought.
No, that's a drop the mic right there. Drop the mic. There it is. Woo! You said sometimes that negative person is you. You know, like you said, the word does say there's power in life in the tongue, but we have to watch our words. We have to watch what we say. I know someone was telling me how Joni Table Talk on Daystar had a prophet on there. I think was it last night or the night before, and he was saying that we need to be mindful of what we say because in 2020, what we say is gonna come to pass. So we really, we need to be speaking life over ourselves, our families, our situations. So thank you so much for all those strong nuggets. I'm going to be reading a lot now. I'm going to up my game. I'm going to level up on my reading. Before we go any further, I didn't want to get too many comments out and we overlook them. Let's see. Oh, we have Glenda Kelly, another one of my unstoppable woman on the move. Y'all ladies are showing up tonight. Love you so much. Assign dollars to something. That's powerful. There was a nugget Mr. K gave us. And C. Kelly. I'm not sure.
She's like, C. Kelly, get in here and watch this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, she's tagging folks. Dr.
Rainey, get in here and look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Oh, come on. Yes. Oh, let's see. TP Champion thought of you watching this. Okay. Come on.
Thank you all for liking and sharing. Yeah. I really appreciate that.
That is awesome. Demetria D. Pickett, come on in. Oh, my mentor is on here. My mentor, Regina Robinson.
Hey. Heard so many great things about you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Regina, she's the founder of Unstoppable Woman on the Move mentorship program, and she is phenomenal. She is an award-winning author and global speaker and entrepreneur, awesome mom. She's a strategist, business strategist. She got it going on. So we are just so happy to have her in, and maybe one day we got to have her on here as well.
I know that's right.
Let's see. Oh, she said, thank you, lady. We love you. All right. So you said so much. But is there something that's weighing on you that you really want the audience to know concerning investing? I'll be the first to tell you that because I was taught, because I'm a baby boomer, you're a millennial, but I was taught, have a good job, stay on that job, be honest, have an honest living, retire, and do whatever it is that you want to do. Unfortunately, because of when 2008 hit, things started turning for the worse, and where you could stay on a job for 30, even 40 years, that's not the case anymore.
Right.
So how someone that is so accustomed to, just working, having an honest living, and I put my time in, how can we shift our thought processes? Again, I keep talking about the shift because it's going to take a mindset shift especially when it comes to finances and definitely investing. And you mentioned earlier how it's important to educate ourselves. Not only should we take action, and move forward and start, walking into things, being good stewards. But we do need to educate ourselves. How can we do that about investing? What do you want to share with us on some basic principles, that could help us with that?
Well, thank you so much. I think, you know, there's something that we study called the cycle of success. Am I echoing? There's
No.
something that we study called the cycle of success. And what it really talks about is starting out with small goals, right? So you have your A level goals, your B level goals, and your C level goals. So A level goals, you're like, I got it. I know I could do that, right? So in fitness, maybe it's, go to the gym once a week for 30 minutes. You're like, oh, I can do that. That's an A level goal. A B level
Okay.
goal is something you're like, okay, I can probably get this done. It's going to take a little bit longer. And it might be a process to get me there. Right. So
Right.
I might set out with a goal of I'm going to the gym three times a week. And I'm like, okay, I might have to work up to it. Right.
Right.
I'll never forget the first time I started going to work out again. I put on my tennis shoes. I got fully dressed and I went to the gym and I walked around the gym and watched everybody else work out and I left. I said, okay, that was day one. I had to take baby steps.
Right.
Right. I had to take some baby steps and get around the right people. A C level goal is something that you believe is possible. You're just not quite sure it's possible for you. And I'm applying it to fitness, obviously, because of the platform. But really, these principles apply with anything, any goal that you have in your life. And one of the things about starting with those small goals that you're sure you can do, my mentor said, if you start out with a goal of, I want to lose 20 pounds, you might get discouraged, right? But if you say, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds this week, what happens when you lose those 5 pounds? You're like, oh snap, okay, let me see something, and
Right.
that gives you the momentum that you need to then add another 5 pounds, right? Get there 5 pounds at a time.
Mhm.
Finances is the same thing. In fact, any area of your life that you would like to grow in, I thought it wonderful that you started with, it's really about your mind, your spirituality, your health, your body, right? And finances, any of those areas, when we talk about being whole and being well, right? All of
Right.
these areas, if you are having trouble, start with those A level goals. I know I can save $10 a week. I know I can save, $100 a month, whatever that is for you. And one of the things that I think is, to me, is that you have to start with what you believe you can do, because a lot of what we do is tied into our emotions, right? Not just women. I know they put that on us, but it's not just us. It's human nature, right? To be led by our emotions. And so what happens is, no matter how much money we don't have, if we see something we want, right?
Right.
You like, I'm getting that, but you're not
Mhm.
you're not really buying that. You're buying the feeling it gives you to have it, right? You're not
Right.
spending your money on things, you're spending your money on feelings. And the reason why is because it's so easy to do that when it's something frivolous like that, is because
Right.
you have that belief. You believe this will make you feel this type of way if you have it, right? 2 months later, you can't even answer what it was you spent your money on, right? But in
Right.
that moment, you're like, I believe this is the one thing I need. We do it in business. I believe I need some business cards before I can tell anybody about my business. Like, let your business make some money and pay for itself, okay? Like,
Right.
just get out here,
Absolutely.
right? So with finances, you have to start with learning, because that's what's going to grow that belief in your mind that this long-term goal, right? In investing, I've seen people make money investing within 30 days.
Wow.
So don't think of it in these old terms of investing is 30 years out and I'm never going to live to see it. It's for my
Right.
last name's sake. That can be true, but it can be very lucrative right now too. It doesn't take a lot of money to invest, but that's why you have to start with learning. And we'll be diving deeper into finances. If you're in the Columbus area, we're doing a vision board party next week on Wednesday. Those tickets are only $15. Listen, we're gonna feed you. We're gonna have a good time, but we're gonna dive deeper into finances and what are some actionable steps that you can take to start investing now, no matter where you are. Check to check to almost to check. No, it doesn't matter. You got some money saved up. Listen, because this is an important thing I want you to consider for those of you on the line who have been working for longer than 10 years, right? Or longer than 5. Over the last 5 to 10 years, all the money that you've made that's flowed through your bank account. I'm a little country, so what I mean is flow, not flowed, but flowed through your bank account. How much money has that money made you? Okay. Wow. And if you don't have $1,000 saved, that means that you weren't able to save $10 a year.
Wow.
Okay. So just be mindful. Let's start with the baby steps. Build your belief. Look at case studies. Look at what other people are doing. Listen to testimonies about different things, and build your belief in that it is for you too. A lot of times we have this belief that riches isn't for us. We came up learning money doesn't grow on trees. Well, that's not true. Money's made out of paper. Paper is made from trees. Money literally grows on trees, and you have to really challenge some of the precepts that you were brought up with. In particular, if you were taught these things by people who loved you, who taught you everything you needed to know about life, the birds and bees, manners, all that.
Right.
But you wouldn't trade your financial situation for theirs. Then you have to be mindful. That's where you got your mindset from. And so it's going to take a new environment. That includes new influencers. That includes new books, new audiobooks, what you're listening to, what you're putting into your mind and your heart, your self-discipline. This is a skill. Finances is a skill. So when I say money is my ministry, that's literally what I mean. And all it takes is for you to learn the language of money to be successful with it. But it starts with the belief that it's for you. And the Bible says that you cannot please God without faith. And a lot of times we depend so heavily on our jobs, but your job is not your daddy. Okay. A lot of us spent a fortune going to school and we're not working in the field that we went to school for, right? But listen, if you get out here and you start with the little steps, the little things that you can do, then you can take those bigger steps and bigger steps. It becomes what we call, when you're paying off debt, a snowball effect. You'd be so surprised how quickly that adds up. And it's no wonder why other people around us are so wealthy if we're throwing all of our money out every time we get it. That's how they get wealthy, with your money. You put your money in your bank account. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on and on, but let me say this one more thing.
No, you're good. You're good.
Let's say this one more thing. So you put your money in your bank account. That's what we're all taught to do. Put in our checking, put in our savings, right? I actually had somebody ask me to come teach students how to open a checking and saving. I said, for what? No, that's not what I believe in. Why would I teach that? I do believe you should have a checking and savings account. I don't believe that that's where your money should be stockpiled. Why? Because your checking account, your savings account is your bank's investment account. Please hear me out. Banks, we call them banks now because, we're all trendy. We like to shorten the phrases. But your bank is a retail bank. What is a retail store? A retail store is there to sell you things. A retail bank is there to sell you products, right? So there's a difference between investing and being an investor. And so that's what I want to let you know, is that no matter where you are right now, you can take steps and very quickly become your own investor so that you're not losing money. You're not making everyone else but yourself wealthy. Because when you put your money in your bank account, when you see Chase and all these other banks, I didn't mean to single them out, but any major bank, right? You see them making these record returns and these record stock profits and foreign exchange profits. That's your money that they're using. That's not money that Chase had. That's your money. That's your money that you went to work for. Is being put to work. When you're all that fine print that you didn't read through, you just signed. I don't knock it, but I'm just saying be knowledgeable, because you have your money sitting in a savings account. It's getting you 0.02%. right? But you never ask, well, where does the 0.02%? How can your bank promise you 0.02%? How much are they making on your money? And I guarantee you they're multiplying it. It's not even a percent. They're multiplying your money. So,
Wow.
and then they're saying, hey, thanks for letting me hold this. I'm going to give you 0.02%, right? But no one's telling you that inflation is 4%. So you're losing money by saving it, which is what everybody wants you to do. And I love Dave Ramsey, but I'm going to tell you now, our people that are not six figure, you didn't inherit six figures, from your family. Right. Your great grandfather's wax oil painting isn't hanging up in the living room because it's his house that he paid for decades ago. If that's not your lineage, right? You probably are in debt. You probably are wondering, where's all my money going, right? Do not wait till you're out of debt to start investing, because I have a young lady who started with us about 9 months ago, and she has her master's degree. She paid off her student loans in 9 months because she took the time to learn how to invest. So that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be a long-term thing. And investing shouldn't just be part of your retirement plan. It should also be part of your streams of income plan for your cash flow today. So I'm sorry. I know you said one thing.
No, you know what? Okay. I've just got a confession. I got a confession. Let me see. How many years ago was that? 15, 16, 17 years ago. There was a gentleman. He was a vendor for the company that I used to work for. Mm-hmm. And he was a big investor. He believed in the stocks and investing in other things, And I asked him, well, how can I get started? Because I'm interested in mm-hmm. it. And he said, what are you doing with your money now? What are your savings like? Mm-hmm. Try looking into a 401k and some other options that the company offers. Start small, mm-hmm. Start, saving and, looking into those things. And then, you can move forward. And I just thought he was just kind of scooting me away, like, get away, lady. I don't have time. But he basically was saying, I can understand why he said that now. Like you said, I love how you broke the goals, the A goal. So that was an A goal. Start small, and then you can build on that. But I just thought he was dismissing me. So that makes sense. Before we think we can, invest in this huge money market or whatever we're doing, we do have to start somewhere. Just start at the basics. Mm-hmm. So if you find someone that's really okay, they started at the A goal, mm-hmm. and they're ready to graduate a little bit, what's the next step that they can go? They have their savings in place. They've been managing their money. They've been considering, maybe considering their 401k and different things like that. And they're ready, they have that right mindset to consider investing. What would their next step be?
So I would highly recommend taking steps to being their own investor. So, obviously there's a place for products, 401ks, life insurance accounts. All of those things have their place. And what I can tell you is the reason why those are the smaller steps is because they tend to be further long term. And so what you're really doing, so you think you're preparing for your retirement, but what you're doing is you're preparing your mindset to be consistent with something. I can consistently put my money somewhere that I don't have to touch it. I don't have to see what it's purchasing in order for it to bring me some type of joy or belief that is going towards something that's going to be beneficial to me or my namesake, right? And you're building that self-discipline and that consistency. So what you do is you take this new skill that you've learned, that you've honed with your A goals, right? And you get with a group of people, a team, an organization, a leader, someone who you know has been in this particular field for some time, and you say, listen, I'm interested in, I highly recommend foreign exchange. It's a very low way to start investing. You don't need much to start. We highly recommend about $100 to start. So many of you, you spend $100 on date night. We got 4 kids. I spent $100 at the movie before we get in up the ramp at Easton. Okay.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
But I highly recommend that because it's a great way for people to start. They learn the skills of reading charts and knowing what the world economy is doing. And then you can apply that in your household. My son tells me all the time, he just turned 12. He's like, oh, Mom, this is like a game. I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me show you how to make this money from pushing buttons on your cell phone. Another one is real estate. Listen, love it. I think some of us take a longer route. We want to become realtors. We want to take all the classes first. Stop putting obstacles in your own way. You can get into real estate without knowing much. Now you're going to learn. You're going to learn one way or another. I highly recommend getting with someone who's willing to mentor you. And a lot of times that looks like what you said, Ms. Turnbow. Initially, you're given a small task, and it's really not even about the task. It's about seeing if you're coachable. Because most people that have success in finances or investing or anything, fitness, right? Eating right. A lot of times they're going to give you a small task because they don't have a lot of time. People that are successful don't have a lot of time. So I don't want to decide that I'm going to mentor you before I'm sure that you're ready. Okay, I'll give you a small task. You're coachable. Boom. Get with people that you see are having results, that are meeting up consistently, that you can ask tangible people, what's your experience? And be willing to be humble enough to realize that you don't know it all. What has gotten you to where you are. So if you have to get out here and seek something, someone told me like this, if you find yourself still seeking a truth, it means that you haven't found a truth yet. So be humble enough to be a student, be coachable, listen to what someone's saying. It never fails. I get people all the time. I say, okay, do A, B, and C. They're like, all right, A, Z, T, got it. Like, no, come back to A, B, and C. And it's my husband compares it to the Karate Kid, right? We're talking about the new one because we got kids. Okay. He pick up his coat, right? So the first few days, all he had him doing was putting his coat up like that. And it ended up being a move, a karate move. But that's the honor of working with someone who has the experience, is that you're not always going to understand what they ask you to do. But if you trust them on the other end of that, the Bible says on the other side of your obedience is the reward. You don't get the reward throughout the process. So it feels rough. But just know, like, if you have an inherent belief that it's for you and you put yourself in the right position, you're learning the right things, you're around the right people. I didn't mention stocks. Stocks is there's actually a doctor here, Dr. LaCour Meadows, who teaches stock trading. Is pretty similar to what I do with foreign exchange. Listen, learn it all. Learn one thing at a time. Take a year. If people take 4 years to learn stuff that they're not even working on doing now. It's not even their source of income. Take 4 years, learn all 4.
Right.
Put yourself in position. If you haven't had someone rich and wealthy in your family, make a decision, make a commitment that's going to stop with you. And again, it's not about the money. It's about the options. It's about the obedience of it, right?
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I'm
not sorry.
I'm making weird faces just because I don't know what's going on. My screen went black.
Oh.
So can everyone see me? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we can take just a short breather here, and we got some comments going. Let's see here. And they're probably, I should have been putting them up as you were speaking.
Sorry.
Let's see. My mentor said, we go from year to year planning. However, we are not incorporating financials to align with the plans we are creating.
You said, see, that's why you a coach right there. See,
Yeah.
that's the whole word right there. That's a whole sermon in 2 sentences.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how you do it.
Thank you, Regina. Oh, I guess who we have on here. Okay, he put the eyes on there. He see you. He see you. That's Todd Turnbow Jr. He was on last month. Thank you for joining, Todd. And let's see. Oh, Wame's on here.
Wame. So speaking of Happy Fit Friday, Wame is my fitness coach. She's phenomenal. Make sure you check her out.
Absolutely.
Our total body.
Yes. We might have to have you on, Wame, if you have time. There you go with the eyes again.
What you talking about with those eyeballs? You got to write out some words.
All right. Bessie Jackson got the key. She said,
yes, ma'am. She's actually one of our up and coming leaders out here in Columbus. Just have a heart to change the community. There's so much misinformation about money out here in the community. I'm telling you, just take a moment and ask your mentors, like, who do they follow? Who are they following? Right? Because sometimes y'all mentors are following their own tails. And I wanted to say another word, but and, so you have to be mindful. If somebody's knowledge starts and ends with them, if they're used to always being the smartest person in the room,
right,
they've lost that humility, and so you literally end up, one sheep following another. And so be mindful. There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of mentors out here, a lot of great mentors and coaches.
Yes.
Just ask them, who are you following? Who do you listen to?
Absolutely. That's an awesome point. Mm-hmm. Because, it's important who you have in your sphere of influence, because like you said, if you're not trying to go to another level, a whole new dimension, if you will, how are you going to continue to pour in those that you are influencing? So that's an awesome point. And guess who's on here? If he's still on here, that's her good thing. Her other half. Hey there, Mr. Willis. How are you? And Wame, she said, tell the people the truth. She said, time for an urban financial revolution.
Absolutely.
And we were leading
about Harriet Tubman saying that she would have saved 1,000 more slaves if they had only known that they were slaves. And Mr. Terry Moore, he talks about how, slaves didn't work for free, right? They worked for food and clothing and shelter. And, we obviously know it wasn't food, clothing, and shelter how we think of it today. Right. But if your money is only supplying for your basic needs, then in some terms, you're still enslaved. Right. And we talked about money being a master. And the only thing it takes to change that is your decision to change it. Your decision to change it. We have a term that we use with the kids. They'll say, well, how can I do that? And we'll say the will to do so. The will to do so. And you say it like that, matter of fact, because kids, their whole mind is open to whatever you tell them. So if you telling them, money doesn't grow on trees, if you tell them all these misnomers, then they're going to have to fight through that in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s till they figure it out. But if you start pouring into them now as you learn, the word says, teach a child up in the way that they should go, and they'll not depart from it. Right. That's true in everything. Of course, we want to teach them the word, or I'm not sure what you all believe. I'm not going to apologize for my beliefs, and I won't ask you to apologize.
We faith-based. we don't apologize. We don't want to offend, but we definitely don't want to apologize either.
Okay. But it applies everywhere. Why? Because it's the word of God. So it's a law. So it has to work. So tell your kids the will to do so. And a lot of times, if you really be intentional about what you're telling your kids and how you're teaching them, a lot of times you'll end up teaching yourself.
Right.
A lot of times I hear my kids argue back with me, or tell me things. I'm like, dang. And I tell them something, and the Lord will be like, see, so you do understand, so.
Right.
Be intentional with these babies, because a lot of times the Lord is revealing things about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, I think we have a couple questions. Teresa Taylor, she wants to know, what type of things would you invest if you don't have a 401k?
That's a great question. A key principle to investing is cash, asset, cash. So you take your cash that you have, you put it into an asset that's going to either build or grow more money, right? And that outputs more cash for you to work with. So you have to take, just note of your network. You might have a cousin or someone who has a business idea that you can invest in. My husband, years ago, he had the opportunity to invest in Redbox. Right. So these opportunities do come around, and we kind of get a wind of them, but be more intentional. Right. And now, believe it or not, those of you that are on here thinking about investing, you'll start there's something called your RAS filter in your brain. It's trying to sort out everything. But now that you are thinking about investing, it's almost like Google, how Google spies on you. And then you're like, I think I want to wear a gold dress. And next thing you know, your Facebook got all these ads for gold dresses. You're like, I didn't type that in, first of all. But your brain does the same thing. It's called the RAS filter. But so now that you're thinking about investing, you're thinking about all these different products, you'll start to notice your brain will key into different opportunities that are already around you. They've already been around you. They're just waiting for you to be open to receive them. And so if you don't have a 401k, but you do have a job, I would suggest to see what their matching is, right? Because you're giving away free money if you're not at least submitting what they're willing to match. So I would recommend that. If you're an entrepreneur and you don't necessarily have access to a 401k, you can get them independently. However, I would highly recommend reaching out to Brother Todd Turnbow. He has a few life insurance policies, very low cost, where you could potentially reap some rewards in advance or throughout your retirement. So you want to consider that, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So my daughter, she's 16. She just got her first job. And I said, listen, let's go set up your retirement account. She like, Mom, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Because she want to spend every coin she got. But, it's my job. It's my responsibility, to teach her now. This is actually how money works. You want it to work for you, not you work for money.
Yeah. And you're really setting her up far as her wellness too. Mm-hmm. Because if she learns the basic principles now, she'll carry that on into adulthood. Mm-hmm. And she can pretty much avoid a lot of stress because she'll already have, the foundation that is important to, to invest your money wisely and just consider being a good steward. So you're definitely setting her up for success.
Thank God.
And then Teresa also asked, what types of things would you invest in if wait a minute. Oh, she put it in there twice. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
But yeah, I hope that answered your question. If not, give me a more specific one. Real estate is always good. It just depends on how much capital that you're starting with. I highly recommend, like I said, foreign exchange is it's not easy, but because it's new. Anytime you try to learn something new, first time you try to drive, you probably hit a couple curves. But it is very lucrative. It can have a very short turnaround if you're with the right environment, the right people, and the right education system behind it. Stocks can be very lucrative. Like I said, Dr. LaCour Meadows, she's right here in Columbus, Ohio. If that's something that specifically interests you, I would highly recommend reaching out to her. Real estate, I would highly recommend reaching out to Mr. Daryl Hunter, House Hunter out here in Columbus, Ohio. For those of you I'm not in Columbus, listen, I assure you, you have someone in your network. And if not, you can go to Instagram and just put hashtag real estate, whatever your area is. Thousands of people will come up.
Absolutely.
Do your research.
Yes, for sure. Yes, that's what hubby said. Yes, he got the hands up. Oh, Mr. Todd Turnbull. All right now. Yeah, he got all these emojis.
Listen.
Yeah, she's on fire.
There's all types of ways to invest out here. The unfortunate truth is, I mean, you know, what the rich and wealthy do is they invest their money first, right? And then they spend what's left. And what the poor and middle class tend to do is spend their money first. And we like to say invest what's left over, but that's not true. They spend that too, right? So, you know, just be mindful of the habits that you have, and are they actually serving you, or would you be better off learning something new? Look at the people around you. Would you trade lives with them? Do you want to be in that same situation, you know, 10, 20, 30 years from now? One thing I will say is it's never too late to start investing. I know we have a lot of people come through the trade lounge and they're in panic mode. Like, listen, I got 2 more years left. I haven't saved quite enough. We had one person had saved 200,000. And, you know, it was a big deal as far as their family's concerned, because that's you rich, you made it. But when you're talking about retiring, if you need $50,000 to live off of a year, right, and your money is just in an account, it's not really doing anything, it's just an account. If you pull out $50,000 a year, you're talking about 4 years of retirement. And then what comes next? You know, then you're welcoming people to Walmart, or, you know what I mean? Like you have to go back, because you have to have a means of an income. And don't depend on Social Security. I'm telling you right now, listen, don't even try, even if it is around for those millennials. I'm an elder millennial is what I like to call myself, because I have some wisdom, but right. But you know, don't depend on Social Security. If you haven't seen a Social Security check, I mean, it's probably not enough to pay your phone bill. So you want to be mindful, what type of life do you want to have in your retirement? And do you, you know, retirement is not an age, it's just a number. You know, if you know how to invest your money, multiply your money, keep it growing, you might be able to retire off of 200,000, because you know you can continue to make it grow over time. But without that knowledge, then you don't have that freedom. And that's really what financial freedom is. We talk about financial freedom a lot, and sometimes, you know, I think that we have this fantasy that financial freedom one day will find us and lay hands on us and shake us and we'll speak in tongues and it's done. You know, but financial freedom is something to strive after, you know, with faith.
Oh, we're having some technical difficulties. Nikkei, if you can hear me, you are frozen. If you want to go out and come back in and see if that will help. And while Nikkei is trying to get back on with us, we have another comment from Todd Turnbull Jr. Life insurance is a living benefit. Absolutely. Thank you for that wisdom nugget. Oh, come on, system. Well, we hope you have really, she's going to come back in. We're just going to pause for station identification. So hopefully you have gained some wisdom nuggets from this broadcast. We truly appreciate Nikkei for just dropping so much wisdom. Earlier, we had mentioned The American Psychological Association study, they found that 72% of individuals are stressed out about money, and 22% they are extremely stressed. So a lot of the wisdom that Nikkei has shared, we can apply it. We can apply it to our lives, and it can help relieve some of that stress. And she is back. There you go.
Hey, you know,
So
Fortnite,
I just
everybody on
paused and
Fortnite in the house. It's Friday night. I'm like, listen, get off the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. Thank y'all
no,
for being
I was just
flexible.
reading.
My apologies.
Oh no, you are good. You are good. No, I was just reading that percentage again,
Hmm.
and then I shared. You can see this wisdom nugget. Your constituent share. Life insurance is a living benefit. So
Yes.
what would you say to that?
That's
What would you say?
absolutely true. You know, one of the things is that it's important to make sure that who you're talking to is knowledgeable. Like I myself, you know, in our family, we go to Todd Turnbow for all of our insurance needs. And to me, it's just about having the peace of mind, the assurance of knowing that things are taken care of, not just in the case that I die, right? Like I want,
Right.
hey, wait a minute, don't be spending my money when I'm gone. Like, you know, listen, I can be selfish sometimes. So, you know, to me, it was very important to be able to talk to someone who I know has children of his own, who, you know, has done the due diligence of saying, of researching different companies and seeing what's best. Not just for his incentive purposes, right, but for me and what I need to serve my family well. And so he certainly has a heart. You know, the Bible talks about you know, working your business with integrity, right, and
Yeah.
justice. And you know, and so you'll see, I'll shout anybody out, right, but it has to be someone that has shown me that they have integrity and they have passion, and they're working in the field that they have been purposed to work in. I'll say it that way.
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Then also he posted another one of your
Trying to get
health.
the house hunter on here. Daryl Hunter,
Daryl,
the house hunter. Listen, if
yeah,
you're looking for a home, if you want to start investing in real estate, if you want to sell your home to, you know, have some monies to launch or move into something bigger and better, listen, Columbus, Ohio, really anywhere in Ohio. He's knowledgeable not just because he's taken the time to learn and research, but because he himself is he invests in real estate. He has a few investment or has had a few investment properties around the city. Beautiful, beautiful home, beautiful family. They just had a baby girl. They had 3 boys
yeah,
already. You know, see, he was bringing balance. See, that's what I'm talking about.
yeah. Shout out to Mr. Hunter and his family. Congratulations.
Yes.
Um, we are gonna just you've really answered all these questions. You really have, but we're just gonna go ahead and just we'll use them as a summary. So
Okay.
you can give us a summation, you know, in your answers to these things, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Oh man, I can talk with you all night. You're just so full of knowledge, and we so appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much.
But speaking, you have mentioned, since you just mentioned it earlier, about retirement. One of the questions is, should I consider investing for my retirement, and how will it benefit? And you can give us a summary because you basically laid it out for us.
Mm-hmm. So listen, several ways you might benefit by being able to retire early. You know, if you count that as a benefit. I know one of the things my husband and I said is, listen, I love you, but I don't want us to both be on canes on the beach. Like, it's already hard in flip-flops. Like, I don't know how well that's gonna work out. So that's one of the things that we had established early on. And really, you have to decide, what does retirement look like to you? You know, what does it look like? Does it look like traveling more? Does it look like, you know, it being an empty nester and downgrading your home so that you have more cash flow? What does that really look like? And talk to a professional. You know, there's professional CPAs out here, but absolutely, you have to consider investing for retirement. And here's why: because most of us on the line, and I can say this not because I know you all personally, but I know the statistics, most of you on the line are in some ways check to check or emergency to emergency, right? Whatever it is, right? There's probably less than $10,000 saved currently, or if you're close to retirement, there's probably right around $100,000 to $200,000 saved for retirement. You have to invest to retire. Why? Because if you're like me, you're a millennial or younger, or you're a little bit more seasoned, and you're check to check now, let's say you do have a pension. Your pension is 60% of your income. Most are 40% of your income. So if you're check to check now, you know, most people think of retirement as an upgrade on lifestyle, you know, so you have to decide, is it going to be a downgrade of lifestyle, or is it going to be an upgrade of lifestyle now that you have all this time, you know, to hopefully pursue your passions, right? So you have to decide what that looks like for you. I would say you have to invest. Here's why: because your working wages, that's what pays for your current lifestyle. Your investing is what pays for your future lifestyle. So if you have not started to invest and you're nearing retirement age, figure it out now. Figure out something that's lucrative. Maybe take a little bit more high risk with less of your money. And that typically looks like something like foreign exchange or directly trading with cryptocurrencies. There's whole third world countries turning around their whole economy because of cryptocurrency. I'm certain you can do it for your household. Like,
absolutely.
It's been a phenomenal journey. Mm-hmm.
Well, that answers the question, why should I invest? Just a few words. If someone asks you that, what would you say?
Why not invest? Why not invest? Why not invest? Because investing takes faith, and the Bible says that without faith, you cannot please God. You know, and it doesn't take faith to go to work. You know, you're going to get a paycheck, but investing takes some faith and some belief that if I do this thing that God has told me to do, if I do this thing that God just so happened to have me on Facebook, and I saw this live talking about investing, and it touched my heart. And I have to have faith that if I act on this, that he'll bring the increase. And, you know, that's where I truly believe, you know, investing serves us when we talk about being whole and fit and fitness and our mindset and our peace of mind. Investing gives you some peace of mind that a job cannot provide. And I love jobs. I fully stand by jobs. I'm a director for a nonprofit here in Columbus, Ohio, and I love that job. But what I will say is that in this day and time, it's dangerous to only have a job. So I want you to think about, for a lot of us on the line, we learned, or we were there during the .com bubble, right? That's what it's called. Mm-hmm. And how many of you took the time and looked at your parents or your aunts and uncles or your sisters and brothers? You're like, why you didn't get in on that? Why we not
Right.
rich? Why didn't get in on that? Well, guess what? 20, 30 years from now, that's what they're going to be saying about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and foreign exchange, because foreign exchange is just now getting popular. It's just now been de-redlined, for lack of a better word, that
Right.
anyone can get in. You know, so 10, like I said, 20, 30 years from now, that's what the conversation will be. Is like, why are we not rich? Why weren't you around when that was happening? Absolutely. What were you doing? Buying Jordans? What was happening? You know?
Well, there's still hope for me. Mm-hmm. So, the next question: how risky is investing? Is it stressful?
Mm-hmm. It's very risky if you don't take the time to educate yourself.
Right.
If you're not educating yourself, if you're not in the right group, if you're not in the right if you're not in the right field and with the right mentors and things like that, it's very risky, right? Because if you don't have any of that or some of that going for yourself, you're just gambling, right? So it's all risk, right? As far as it being stressful, listen, I can tell you that when I take Sunday and I plan out my week, even when something goes wrong, I'm like, okay, but I know it's gonna work out because this and that and this and that is in place, right? That's way less stressful. True or true?
In life, yes, yes.
It can be stressful if you're out here gambling in these streets. You gotta get with some mentorship, get with. So Money Honey University, we specifically, work with women. We have the Columbus Trade Lounge here in Columbus, Ohio. But we have trade lounges all across the nation. Just had one in Europe, South America, South Africa, Brazil, Jamaica. Listen, link with us where you are. We probably have a trade lounge there in the area. But it can be risky. It can be stressful. It's really just about educating yourself and being around the right people.
Awesome. Todd Jr. says, why should you invest? The Bible says, work while it is day because night comes and no man can work.
It sure does. It also says,
that's a drop the mic. I'll give it to him. Drop the mic.
It says a wise man thinks ahead and a fool doesn't and even brags about it. So how often do you hear people say, like, I'm good, I'm good? No, well, why be good when great is an option?
Look, see y'all wearing this mic out. Okay. Mic out. You're wearing it out.
Okay. That's the Bible. The Bible's always gonna wear a mic out. Listen.
Come on now.
Okay.
He said the parable of talents tells us to multiply what has been given to us.
No matter how small. That's a good point. No matter how small, you're supposed to be multiplying what is given to you. Why? Because what you have is a seed. If I plant an apple seed, if I put an apple seed into this earth and I nurture it and I take care of it, I'm not expecting it to give me one apple.
Right.
If you take your dollar, your $100, your $1,000, it's not just money, right? It's anything. If you take your time, if you take your resources, you should be multiplying them, period.
Absolutely. He said, God created us to be multipliers, not consumers.
Okay, case in point. Listen, I talk about this all the time. Proverbs 31. We all like to say we're Proverbs 31 women. The whole first portion is about investing.
Come on now. See that?
So ladies, listen, I know they like to pretend like this is a male-dominated field, but statistically, women are actually better traders than men because we tend to be more cautious. We tend to take the time to learn what we're doing before we just jump out there. So I believe that that's why it ties in perfect with a Proverbs 31 woman or wife, because, it says that she's the one that goes out into the field to see if it's... I don't have nothing to tie my mule up, so what's the next question? What's the next question?
They can't use something else. Okay, well, having a healthy financial portfolio really affect my health and wellness.
Yes. How else you gonna stop at Whole Foods? How else you gonna do it? You know how much organic stuff is? I went to get some organic spinach because it's the one green vegetable I know every child in my house will eat. Okay, regular spinach, which this don't make any sense to me. Y'all took the time to mess up what was already fine. And then gonna charge me more for regular? Okay, whatever you want to do. But the non-organic spinach was 94 cents a bushel, right? The organic was $1.24. Now that doesn't seem like much, but when you're feeding 6 people, you gotta get a few bushels, and you talking about 7 days in a week. Like, come on now, this is adding up. Okay. Not only that, but I trade foreign exchange. I know exactly what I can do with 34 cents in a $5.3 trillion market if I invest it versus eating it with the spinach. No, but not just that, not just your health and wealth, but when's the last time you've seen somebody doing fitness classes for free? When's the last time you've taken the time to say, for example, fast food is, it's fast. It doesn't cost a whole lot. But if you go to like a health bar or something like that, it costs a lot more. And that's by design, because typically you have to be intentional about anything that's good for you.
Right.
And if what I'm giving you has more value than what I'm charging, right, you really can't put a price on good health. So it makes sense that it would be marked up, right? That being said, you have to be able to put yourself in a position, because, there is no vision without provision. And a lot of times our lack of provision is really about a lack of supervision for something that we already had that we didn't take the time to be intentional about. And so, if you start being real with yourself and start there, okay, I've done something with what was given to me that's putting me in this situation now. Now I have to learn to do something different. And yeah.
Awesome. I think we have someone else came on. Kevin Howell.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey,
He's one of our leaders out there in Atlanta, changing lives. This gentleman has been trading foreign exchange for about 2 years now. But he's just a leader in really shifting the community. He has some beautiful daughters. They're trading. Listen, it's a community effort to change the mindset and get the knowledge out here, and not just the knowledge of we know this exists, but the knowledge of how to do it. There's one of my favorite movies is Hidden Figures. And the character that took the time to learn how to work the computer when none of the guys can work the computer, and then she taught everyone in her field, and it was during race times and things were heated in that nature, but she was able to rise to a different position in her workplace where they were actually facing being fired. She actually received a promotion above her counterparts that were of a perceived better position in life, because she took the time to learn that. And so I believe that if we take the time to get in front of this cryptocurrency and the foreign exchange while it's just now coming and new to the market, it's not new, it's just new to our communities. But if we really take it by the reins and learn this thing, we can really transform lives. So yeah. And yes, so tune in. So listen, if you're tuning in because you're part of my network, I'm super excited, but make sure that you follow Miss Turnbow. She is my probably fifth mother. Okay. I'm just adopting everybody's moms now because I love her genuinely. She has great conversations, and this is her Happy Fit Friday. So make sure you not only follow her, but you hit the live notifications so that you can tune in anytime.
Thank you. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate you for joining. Kevin said facts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going with something you just said when you shared about Kevin and how his family they're into investing. So with this segue into this next question, and then we just have a couple more, and then we will release you. My family has gotten by without investing. Why should I start now? And
have they really? have they really gotten by? Now, I know you're good. I know you're good because we say that a lot in our community. We're good. I'm good. And by community, I don't just mean color. I mean mindset. Right. I mean the working class, right?
Right.
Why be good when great is an option? A lot of times we're good. We're getting by. Just even with that phrase, like we're getting by. Who wants to just get by? Like what? Come on into the room. Come on. Come on into the water. It's fine.
It's fine. The water's fine.
No, so certainly, families can get by without investing. That's true. But what you want is to consider is, do you just want to get by, for one? I don't think anybody really just wants to get by. I think that it's something we settle for. And so if you're continuously okay with settling, that's fine. But you have to keep in mind, you never know what the future holds. We've had people who have, had deaths in the family or have had someone fall ill very close to them. But because they have a way to be able to make money without showing up, their money is making money for them. They can take the time off of work. They don't have to sweat. They don't have to worry about bills being paid. There's sometimes that you have to take the time to create provisions for things that you haven't even considered may happen yet. Because a lot of times God will put things before you and opportunities before you, and you won't know why it's there or why it's important. But if you don't take advantage of it, you'll learn very quickly why you should have. And so I don't say that to scare or frighten anyone, but it's really just about, why just be getting by when there's so much that could happen to go wrong. A lot of times we say saving for a rainy day. Why not save for a sunny day? Why not call in to work well? Hey, I feel too good to be in the office today. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm calling in because there's something wrong with my eyes. I don't see myself there today, right? Investing kind of adds this potential when we talk about freedom, financial freedom. That's really what we're talking about, is the freedom to live in your truth and be who you really meant to be.
Awesome. And
she's never gonna have me on like, you are long-winded. I said 2 words. Give me 2-word answers from now on. Okay.
We just got into conversations, and me, because I got to ask the question. So this is me prolonging it, but we just want to make sure, this is just a summary, because you really answered all these questions. Should I have multiple streams of income? Again, how will investing benefit my health and wellness? You've already made that clear about the health and wellness, but just speak on, just for a few seconds, talk about multiple streams of income.
Yeah, so you absolutely want to have multiple streams. If you read the Bible, the book of Proverbs goes into depth about what we consider wealth today, or money, what would translate to money today. But the reason why you want to have multiple streams of income is because you have multiple streams of outcome, right? How many different ways is your paycheck being pulled? Sometimes even before you get it, you're like, oh, okay, boom, I'm gonna have this. First, I'm gonna get that, then I'm gonna pay this, then I'm gonna see what's left over, and then I might get those shoes I was looking at. Oh yeah, I gotta get groceries. You know what I mean? You're like, your money is pulled all different types of ways. And so what you want to make sure that you're doing is being diligent, right? And one of the things in the book of Proverbs, he talks about be diligent to know the state of your flocks, right? And attend your herds. And back then you have to think about, like, your herds was like a sign of your wealth. Like, what's your however many, what my flock is doing is a sign that I'm being a good steward, literally, right? And so in a herd, you don't just have one sheep, right?
Right.
Like, that's not a herd. Like, what you doing? Like, I can't even make a sweater with that. What are we doing right now? You know what I mean? You need at least 30. I need at least 30 because I need some comfy PJs, because this heat ain't been invented yet, right? So listen, so you want to be mindful, just because why not be mindful, right? Why not have multiple streams of income when you got multiple streams of outcome? And again, even if your money's not going anywhere, even if you saved every penny that you got, right, from your one stream, even if you saved every penny, you're still losing money, because inflation is 4%, right? So if I had $20, if I gave you $5 gas money in 1997, you like, oh, thank you, yes, just get me through next couple of days to payday, because I'm just getting back, right? Like the last question. But if I gave you $5 today, you would be like, if you don't keep this change, what is this going to do on my premium gas bill that I'm about to pull up in here and get, right? Absolutely. That's inflation. That's a very visible way to see it. My husband went to get milk the other day. Milk had gone up to $5. I was
Wow.
like, oh, listen, y'all not baby cows anyway. We don't need milk. Like
Right,
we're
right.
all gonna be vegetarian today. Okay.
Thank you.
Exactly. So, anyway, you want to have these multiple streams of income because, the Bible says, invest your money 7 ways, even 8, because you never know, what the world is going to do. And
Absolutely.
it does benefit your health and wellness because, again, you have that peace of mind, right? So stress isn't as a, like when we talk about like you having stress repeatedly over and over and over again, and you almost don't even have like a reprieve from that stress.
Right.
And again, I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm not saying that money is what solves it. What I'm saying is your obedience to what you're doing with your money, right?
Absolutely.
Is you're being obedient to a law from God, regardless
Yes.
of what you believe, it's a God law. You're being obedient to that law. And so because of that, you are allowed to have the increase of peace of mind and be able to show up to your problems a little bit differently, which lowers your stress, right? Also, you get to develop the skills of being diligent and consistent, which you can then also apply to other areas of your life, like wellness and going to the gym and not just looking at the people like a weirdo.
Uh-uh.
I really did that. That's
Always
a true
gonna remember
story.
that story.
You gotta start where you at.
Always gonna remember that story. Well, you summed it up. We are so appreciative of you coming on and just really just laying a foundation for us to build on, to consider, investing and building our wealth so we can maintain our health. And the last statistic I want to leave before we go, 40 million Americans experience anxiety and financial issues that are triggered because they're either worried about how they're going to make ends meet, like you said, going from paycheck to paycheck, or dealing with, life issues that may come up, that huge event that may wipe us out. It could wipe us out. So that's just astronomical. That's an astronomical figure, but we can lower that if we just be good stewards and just consider the goals like you presented, the ABC goals, and just progress, as we discipline ourselves, and then we can progress and really consider what we can do to not only optimize our finances, but it's going to help us optimize our health and wellness.
Yes.
And keep us out of the hospital and keep us from having phenomenal bills that we're expected to pay. So again, that anxiety, the stress can lead to fear and panic and anger because um, you really can't make ends meet. And it also brings on depression. And there's also a term, debt anger syndrome. So who has that? Debt anger syndrome is brought on because you're angry because you may have overspent, you're in debt to here, and you just don't know how you're going to juggle it all. And that just it affects your wellness. So again, we thank you so much, Nikkei. You are phenomenal. So proud of you. So proud of what you and your husband are doing. And I love, love, love when you shared how you are teaching your daughter now. That is so crucial.
It is.
That someone just sat down and explained to me like you're doing with your daughter. Girlfriend be on the beach somewhere right now.
Okay. You'd be like, y'all be getting this podcast.
Making my money be my servant. And I love when you said make your money your servant rather than your master. So that's all we have. We can't say no more. We're gonna drop the mic on everything. Where my mic at? My mic done left me.
I know that's right. So remember, you guys,
somewhere.
no matter where you are, wherever you are, right? It may not be your fault, but it is absolutely your responsibility. So make sure you get some notes so you can grow.
Yay! So, Nikkei, if someone say, I am so impressed with her, how can I get in touch with her? I know we have your is that your website?
Yeah. You probably want to go to moneyhoneyuniversity.com. Or you can reach out to me, Nikkei Willis, on all social media, including LinkedIn, which is new. So have some grace if that's your if that's your preferred social media. I'm still learning it. But yeah, so Nikkei Willis, moneyhoneyuniversity.com. And again, we are having a vision board 2020 vision board party next Wednesday. It's right in downtown Columbus. We will have some light refreshments for the ladies. We'll be talking about finances specifically, but we'll be fellowshipping and having a great time. So if you want to register for that, just search Money Honey on Eventbrite, or you can go to moneyhoneyuniversity.com and click on events and register there.
Absolutely. And then you also, is it okay to give your number?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach out to me directly via text, or you can leave a message. I will get back to you within 24 hours or talk to you directly. It is absolutely my pleasure to consult. I absolutely love going over strategies, particularly for women with families and or businesses. I do also do public speaking. My preference is church and organizations and network marketing groups. And then I also help with content design. So being able to have a strategy to launch your business well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And is this your email address?
Yep. So you can reach out to me there. You can also do nikkeiwillis@gmail.com. Either is fine. Probably the best way to reach me is social media, since I do have to log in, let everybody know I'm still alive.
Yeah. And so we are excited about your the event that you have. We're going to share our screen. Let's see if this will work.
Thank you.
Let's see if it will work.
And you can also link directly with the Columbus Trade Lounge. That's online at columbustradelounge.com. And we're there live every Thursday. But if you go to columbustradelounge.com, you'll also get an idea of the special events that we have. The Money Honey University 2020 Vision Board Party is really just about fellowship, women empowerment. And we'll be speaking specifically on those actionable goals. So we talked about A, B, and C goals, but those actionable goals to get started on your pathway to investing today, regardless of what's going on. Let's get it in.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So again, if you want to be a part of that, if you're here in the Central Ohio area, it's the Money Honey presents 2020 Vision. I'm all about that 2020 Vision. Come on now.
That's right.
Vision board party, sip and craft women's event. Mm-hmm. So get ready to go to the next level. And they're going to have a speaker. It's on Wednesday, November the 6th, $15. That's an awesome investment.
Yeah.
You want to invest in yourself. And that's all we have. That's all we have.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. So we appreciate you, and we are going to let you go. Your family is probably screaming right now.
They guest starred a couple times. I'm going to like watching the replay.
Oh. I didn't mean to take you off like that. And see, I'm
No, you're fine. Thank you. Have a good night. I will talk for another 30 minutes. So.
Thank you so much, Nikkei. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us. And this has been another edition of Happy Fit Friday. And just remember that you can invest and build wealth while maintaining your health. All right. So remember to stop by and visit us every Friday. As God says the same, the weather permits. Well, we're going into our winter months now. So you may want to catch us the 5-ish time, around 5-ish, right before it gets dark. So just come and join us. Come and join us right here on Jacqueline Turnbow's profile until we get our Happy Fit Friday page going. And hope to, by next year, we hope to have the broadcast from there. So this has been Jacqueline Turnbow, aka Jacqueline Deneen, your partner on purpose, reminding you that you can do that thing that God has specifically designed you to do. Continue blessings, and we will talk with you soon.